mother. After the death of my father, she decided to control my every step. She literally tormented me with her hypercare. She saw danger in every detail, especially in my hobby of playing basketball. She demanded that I give up the sport, but all my mother's worries, in my opinion, were needless. I was young and completely healthy. What could possibly have happened? But once, right during one of my games, I felt like I couldn't breathe. I felt as if my heart was beating right out of my chest, doing a tap dance. My legs gave way, and I fainted to the frightened cries of the crowd. I woke up in the hospital with pain all over my body, and it felt like I had gone through a meat grinder. I was always strong, but when I felt how slow my heart was beating, I got very scared. Later we learned that my heart almost stopped and I had been just one step away from death. According to the doctor, my disease is hereditary. Additionally, in my case, this genetic abnormality couldn't be diagnosed until the first symptoms appeared. My condition was not only severe, but also deadly. I could not believe that this was happening to me. Do I have to say goodbye not only to sports, but also to life? According to the doctor, my heart was very weak and could barely function. Only a heart transplant could save me. I simply did not hear the rest of the doctor's words. I only saw my mother's face and her eyes filled with tears. For me, a young and energetic athlete, only darkness remains. I could barely walk along the street without feeling dizzy. I struggled with shortness of breath. My skin turned pale and my legs swelled up and looked like 2 boiled sausages. I could barely feel my fingers because my heart was not strong enough to pump blood well enough. Waiting for a suitable donor sometimes takes years. One of the main conditions for compatibility is the same blood type. But with my rare AB blood type, it is very difficult to find a compatible donor. I understood that perfectly, although everyone around was pretending that everything would work out. Nothing will get better. I may not live to see my next birthday. You know, it's scary to lie in a bed staring at the ceiling while listening to the uneven rhythm of your own heart. It's horrifying to realize that life is slipping through your fingers. It's very scary to look at the world outside your window and realize that I most likely will die here, right in this bed. I won't get the chance to have children or my own home. It is terrible to have to think that the guy with whom I was destined to live all my life will have to live it with someone else. But the worst thing was to look at my mother. After my death, she will be completely alone. Mum tried to hide her fear and despair, but she wasn't a good actress. A month before my birthday, my heart failed again. I could barely be saved. I was dying, but I didn't want to spend the rest of my short life inside these gloomy, grey hospital walls. Therefore, they allowed me to stay at home, where doctors would visit me from time to time. My mum did not lose hope and tried to make my last days a little bit happier. One day, in the evening, she entered my room in a new pink dress. I had never seen her look so beautiful. Mum helped me put on a new dress that was my favourite colour, turquoise, and some fancy shoes. I was so happy that I couldn't help but smile. She went down to the living room, and it seemed to me that I was in a fairy tale. The whole living room was decorated with flowers and candles, and my mother invited me to the table, which was beautifully laid out. I asked, "What is the special occasion?" And my mother said that they had found a donor for me. That evening seemed like the happiest of my life. No, not because they found a donor for me, but because I spent the evening with my mother. We were joking, laughing, and crying. Mum told me how she and Dad met, and I told her how I fell in love for the first time. That evening, my mother was not a strict parent. She was just a loving mother. Soon, the evening turned into the night, and I did not even notice how I fell asleep. I woke up in the hospital ward with wild chest pain. I did not understand what was happening and asked to call my mother, but the doctor reassured me. He said that I should not worry. Visitation would not be allowed for 1 week. All week, I eagerly awaited my mother so that I could share with her the joy of being healthy again. But my mum never came. The doctor handed me a letter from my mother. In the letter, she asked my forgiveness for leaving me alone. My days were running out, and there was practically no chance of finding a donor. She felt she had no other choice. So my mother decided to give me her heart. Later, I learned that my mother came to the hospital with me sleeping in the back seat. She took cyanide and died right on the doorstep of the hospital. She had signed permission for the heart transplant upon her death,